Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ish Talkers Anonymous podcast. This is episode 2. I myself, Ron, am joined by Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
And I am Ed.
What you guys been up to lately since the past week? Other than music.
Pretty much listening to music, filling out job applications, and watching the news. So, boring as fuck.
I've been avoiding the news for a little bit.
So have I. I've been trying to stay away from it.
Yeah, they started talking about like suicide and shit. And that's a touchy subject with me. So
yeah.
I try to, yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to stay off my main Twitter.
I've been trying to cut back.
I've been trying to stay off my main Twitter and some Facebook stuff because I go to Facebook for memes.
Okay.
And I haven't had a lot of memes lately, so I've been trying to not see anything that I don't want to.
It's a bad time for the funny. It's a good time for social justice and things of that nature. It's a bad time for funny.
Yeah. It's every now and again I find something, but it's been a little dry lately. Well, it's been a little dry.
Yeah.
And as a meme lord, I cannot stand by this.
Yeah,
You might have to become a meme creator now.
I don't know if I have the capacity for that. I'm more of an analytical person up in my head than I am creativity. I'm more analytical, which is why I like professional gaming, is because I'm able to, read a setup, analyze why it's a good setup or why it's a bad setup and stuff like that.
Okay. So how do you feel about this setup, and should we fire the sound guy?
No, this setup's fine for what we got going.
Okay.
Wait,
I still feel like you should.
Guy?
I still feel like you should have a laptop over here, but we don't have enough outlets in here for it. That's the only problem.
I can have a laptop over here. It's just where the mixer is. We'll fix it.
The mixer could probably could go farther away.
What we'll do is we'll duct tape the mixer
That's
onto
probably
the
where
wall.
it's going to be tomorrow.
Okay. You were saying?
We'll duct tape the mixer onto the wall, and then we'll screw the laptop right above it. We'll look super professional.
I think the laptop will die.
You'll be fine.
That laptop, I would literally murder somebody if something happens to it. Literal murder.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there.
Yes.
All right, that's the first one we go after then.
Things that we can't, things we cannot replace.
Like your beats?
Yeah. Fuck you with the
Well, define what you would call sentimental, because that is different for everybody.
Yeah.
All right. Be that way.
All right, I will be that way. But
Oh, Ron, guess what I saw the other day going into work?
what'd you see?
So I saw a 1950s, 1960s Chrysler 300 that was lifted and 4x4. Like, I was in my truck, and that thing was taller than me. It was sick. It was definitely not something I was expecting to see, but oh my god, that thing was amazing.
I don't know how I feel about a car being lifted higher than a truck.
I remember I was at a Wawa in Lindenwald, and I seen an IROC that was lifted.
People do crazy shit with Camaros, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. Like, if it's Forza, dude, awesome. You built yourself a rally car.
Right, but
where in Jersey are you going to drive a lifted IROC?
Blue Hole.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably about the only place you can go other than...
But there was no brush guard, and I doubt they reinforced the bottom.
Nobody's perfect.
That's true. That's true.
Just look at our Cutlass.
That I broke again recently.
Yeah. Although that wasn't necessarily your fault.
It could have been,
Possibly.
but I'm not going to talk about it, so...
We're not going to say it's his fault.
But it is. Just make sure you know that.
Yeah, that's why I switched to electric fans, because I don't have to worry about breaking it again.
And sending a fan through everything.
I believe we talked about this on the last one. Episode
Probably.
1.
And
Yes.
we talked about it beforehand. I don't think we brought it up.
I don't know.
Either way, someone will correct us.
You'd think the person who edited the episode twice
Would know.
would know.
Nah, he doesn't know anything.
No, why would he?
Who knows?
And I hopped back on Destiny this week because weekly reset. Grinded out some powerful gear, a couple pinnacles. RNG's landing on the wrong pieces, but I got 2 chess pieces. I'm currently at a 1023 on the chess piece. I need to get a higher power on it, and I got a +6, so I got a 1029. but I got 2 drops of it. So that kind of sucks. So I'm kind of mad.
You win some, you lose some.
True. Which is weird because I was having good leveling last week and yesterday. And then today is just, I got 1 thing I needed. And everything else was like a +1 where it didn't need to be. And then I got the 2 +6s on the chest piece. And I was like, fuck. So that's unfortunate for me. But I got a couple more things to get, so.
I'm trying to follow, but I have.
Basically, your character's power is above 1,000 now, and currently I'm sitting at 1,023 on my chest piece.
Okay.
And I got a +6 drop with what's called powerful gear and pinnacle gear. Basically, what you chase after every week to get higher gear power.
And you said that game's made by an independent now, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is amazing. So.
Yeah. I always think that's dope when somebody sits there and works their way up to where they can afford to just be their own boss.
It's. I mean, obviously deadlines are still like a thing, but they have full control over everything now.
Yeah.
Which is always great, especially when you are that passionate and you want to make something of your own the way you want to do it. So.
Yeah, you don't have oversight from. Yeah.
Yeah, because
the main company.
Now they can proudly say that they've made a game the way they wanted it to be. So. Just excited for it. A lot of stuff happening soon. So. And I gotta wait, which is unfortunate, but
how long you gotta wait, and what are you waiting for?
We're in June, July, August. I gotta wait 3 months for the next big expansion drop.
You got plenty of other games you can play.
This is true. Once I run out of stuff, I actually have V Rally, which was free for Xbox. Kind of fun.
Yeah.
Not as realistic as one might think of like Dirt or Forza, but it's fun. It's just a rally game. It's got some realistic physics to it.
Okay.
It's just fun to throw a car around a dirt corner every now and again. So.
Yeah. It caught my eye. I'd never played it, but it caught my eye because I actually played the WRC games. Like I got real big into them for a little bit. So. I thought about it, but never played it.
I've actually been playing a little bit of Dirt Rally 2.0 recently.
How is that?
It's actually really fun. And the thing that's even more fun about it is that if you have a VR headset, you get to actually sit in the cockpit, and it is so much fun.
Very, very fun. We could just talk about our trip for a little bit. Have something going on.
We could, yeah.
You guys had a trip?
Yeah, so over this past summer, Bruce and I went on a cross-country trip to Arizona, which was actually very fun. It was very therapeutic, too, because at the time I was working with a lot of stress. And it was just nice to get away for 2 weeks.
And then there was a good probably day and a half where we got to do absolutely nothing driving through Kansas. Got to give us a nice mental reset.
And Kansas is flat. There is nothing out there.
Like Jersey or worse?
Worse.
How? Okay.
Like
flat for miles.
Like
and there's nothing
if you were to
out there.
be in Kansas, then I could actually convince you that the Earth was flat.
Yeah, it's that bad. And there's nothing out there. It's just literally a bunch of prairies, and then the occasional windmill farm.
And occasionally you'll find a sign.
Well, it's probably a good spot for windmill farms because there's nothing to block the wind.
It's
we went through one.
It's probably good for
giant
solar
one
farms
went on
too.
for miles.
We actually went through a windmill farm, and for however many miles it was nothing but windmills and a road.
We were in that for a good while.
I have a picture of it. If you give me a second.
Yeah, it was actually pretty good. We ended up. We started by going to Ohio. Met a friend over there. Yeah, it was pretty nice. Then we did a 14-hour drive to Kansas, which probably didn't have to be a 14-hour drive. We could have split it up a little bit, probably.
But we had 2 weeks worth of vacation, so we were like, we're gonna make this last.
And then we drove 3 hours and spent like an entire day in Dodge City, Kansas. Which actually, there's a lot of history there, and it is a beautiful town to go to.
That's a windmill farm.
What's that, like a cornfield underneath of it?
Wheat or corn, one of the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just showed Ed a picture of the windmill farm we went through, and it was literally nothing but a field of windmills
grain.
and grain of some sort. So it was you should have seen how excited we were when we hit the border of Kansas and we started seeing like mountains and valleys for Colorado.
I think I have probably 10 pictures on the camera for when the second the horizon changed and you could see a mountain tip. I took probably 10 pictures because I was like, there is something different on the horizon. Things are changing.
Yeah, and then about an hour or so
Were you
later we hit
excited
Colorado.
that things
Yeah.
were changing, or were you just excited to see a tip?
Yes.
I'd say both.
Okay.
Because it went from a flat horizon to, oh my god, there's shadows of a mountain.
Yup.
Something is different.
Okay.
It was very exciting. But yeah, no, Kansas City, that was a really cool place for how small it is.
Really?
Dodge City.
Or Dodge City.
Yeah,
Dodge
Dodge City,
City.
Kansas.
Okay.
It was very, very cool. A lot of history, a lot of actual like paved tile roads, like pavers. Most of the city was paver roads, and then there was the other half was asphalt. It was actually very, very interesting to see that.
Was it like design pavers, or was it like brick?
Brick paver.
Brick.
Okay.
Like something they built back when cars were first invented.
Yeah.
And they had wood wheels.
And then it just never got updated because, hey, you can still drive on it, so what does it matter?
Yeah. And for how small the town was, you really don't need to update it. You just have to add on more with the more updated terrain.
Yeah. I think what was it? Indianapolis was initially brick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and they still got that little stretch of brick right by the start-finish line.
There's
And one of the most interesting things they have there is they actually have a recreation of the main street they had
as a museum.
as a museum, and it was actually recreated in what was it, the 80s or something, was it?
I think so.
Yeah, so it was definitely interesting because it was built to look like, I forget, when was it founded again?
I can't remember exactly when, but I think it might have been like the early 1800s
Yeah,
or
that's
something
what I
like
was
that.
thinking.
But pretty much because Kansas is in the Midwest, essentially. It's right around when we started doing that Midwest expansion, and when people moved out to that land and then started building and formed Kansas, Dodge City was one of the earliest settlements, and the museum was basically a recreation, like exact replicas of what the buildings would have looked like. Are all stacked up next to each other, like a strip.
When you say so you're talking about scale, right? You're not talking about like the actual buildings.
No, some of the actual buildings were recreated,
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
and they were turned all into like exhibit pieces. So like there was one that sold fudge and different stuff like that, and a lot of it was souvenir shops.
Okay.
And
I imagine.
well, a couple actually, I think 2 of them were, and then the rest was all exhibits. One exhibit was early firearms of the Midwest, which was actually really cool. I took
was
a lot
a
of pictures.
lovely one.
I took a lot of pictures in there.
It's got to be dope.
A lot of different cap revolvers,
Carbines, probably.
repeaters,
Rifles and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, early bolt actions, early
And
lever actions.
and all the gambler pistols.
Take it. There's actually a gun in there that I actually really like, and I took a picture of it. It's called a trapdoor rifle. Basically what it is on the top of it, where the round would go, is a trapdoor, which when you open it up is the chamber, and you put the round in the chamber. But the reason it's called a trapdoor is because when you open it, you have to open it up like an actual door, and then you put the round in and then close it, and you fire it. When you fire it, that's how you eject the shell. Is you open that door and it pops out.
Okay.
That's what they call a trapdoor rifle. And they're fairly common for the time too, so it was really cool. A lot of early bolt actions.
My grandfather, he actually found a rifle. I didn't know it was called a trapdoor rifle, but it sounds like that. And he found it in the woods somehow, and he took it home and he made a wood stock for it. But the whole thing's like the iron, because of how it rusted. Like the trapdoor is actually in place, open. Like you can't close it.
Right.
Like welded itself to it. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's what yeah, that's exactly what they're really, really cool. Which is everything's a lot of flintlock, in a sense,
Okay.
because
Because it was
Still, it was their early.
It was
mid
early,
1800s.
late
They
1800s.
were still running around with flintlocks?
Some of them were, yeah,
Really?
because they were left over.
Because I know, like, Civil War, they were using rifles and repeaters. Like,
Yeah, and a lot of them came out from that, but
Yeah.
there was still the occasional flintlock too.
Okay.
But a lot there, for the most part, everything was like shell cartridge.
Yeah.
And actually, there was actually one of the things was a wall and a poster basically of like the different types of rounds they used. So you saw everything from like 45s to 9 mils to some weird hunting rifle rounds. A lot of interesting shit. There was actually
Well, if there's flintlocks, there's probably also balls, too.
yeah, I think there was a couple. They actually have a long ass double barrel shotgun in there too, and it's one of the side by sides, not an over under.
How long?
I forget how long that thing was. I have a picture of it, but it was. That thing had some range.
Apparently, this podcast is going to be called Dodge City.
Yeah,
one
there
about
was a
Dodge
lot
City.
of interesting things in Dodge City.
There really was.
It
And-
actually sounds dope, and I've never heard of it until you guys
And
started talking about it. So,
And as you go through the museum, it shows you different aspects of the way of their life back in the day, and it was definitely interesting going into the doctor's dentist area and just seeing that a large majority of things on the wall contained cocaine.
Yes,
okay. Well, yeah, it's a good numbing agent.
that's the double barrel shotgun. That thing's got a long ass barrel.
Yeah.
Set of barrels. That thing is nuts.
Jeez.
And that's when double barrels were actually kind of cool when they were side by side and you had the two different hammers, and you actually had a switch. You had a switch on it that you would change, and it would regulate which barrel shot. Or you could shoot both at once if you really wanted to, but that's never a good idea.
Nah, it doesn't sound like. I mean, if you want to put a good size hole in something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But there's the what was it, the 12-inch special or whatever, which was a Colt revolver that had like a foot-long barrel or something on it, some absurd length.
Well, I mean, 12 inches is a foot.
Yeah, it's just that's
Yeah,
what it looked
normally.
like. Run it since this is an audio. I'm showing him the pictures, but anybody who has a sense of measurement can understand how long of a barrel that revolver might have had.
Yeah, I remember going to Gettysburg and being in the museum at Gettysburg. And I thought it was nuts seeing some of the revolvers that had stocks on them with fucking long-ass barrels. And I'm like, that's...
Mm-hmm.
Someone turned
a
a
revolver.
revolver into a rifle?
Yeah,
Yeah.
revolver rifle.
A lot of time in World War One, a lot of pilots, not a lot of pilots, but some pilots had machine pistols with rifle stocks. Better stability. And they had, some of them had a longer barrel, some of them didn't, but it was basically just a handgun with a rifle stock, which we have, in a sense, now. We have versions of that, which are actually modification attachments.
Yeah.
It's a rifle housing that you can put a Glock or something in.
Yeah, I seen one for a Glock.
Yeah.
They made the Glock kind of look more like a submachine gun
Yeah.
than a...
And it gives it a little bit more range because the barrel's longer, and you get more stability because you have actual full butt stock. They're actually really cool. So yeah, they also had what was like different types of fire extinguishers.
Which were very interesting. Like the first kind that they had to show off, which I loved the section, it was a glass vial with chemicals in it that would put out the fire, and all you do to put out the fire is basically throw the glass vial at the fire. And of course,
Yep.
my first thought is like, oh wow, they're actually starting to come back out with technology like this.
Yeah.
So we started with a exploding glass vial, and then we went through all these different types, and now we're coming back to exploding balls of fire extinguishing.
Which are obviously more eco-friendly because they're biodegradable material. But yeah, no, essentially, if there was a fire and you had one of these laying around, you would literally just throw it at the fire, the glass would break, and the extinguishing solution would put out the fire.
And then there was another type that they had that was basically a long tube that,
This one's my favorite.
yeah, it was a long tube sealed on the top and the bottom, and it hung on a hook on the wall. And what you would do is when you needed to use that fire extinguisher, you would take it, yank it off the wall without even pulling it off, and that would rip the top off for you. And then you would basically take it and throw the contents into the fire.
Yep. Because when you yank it off the hook, the contents that are sitting in the cap basically will go down into the tube, and the rest of it mix. to get your solution, and then you would literally take it and dump it on the fire. So
And it worked for a while.
Yeah, that was actually one of my favorite iterations of the fire extinguisher. And it's just literally a long tube that sits on a hook.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a train out front, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Good old locomotive.
And then after Dodge City, Kansas, we kept heading west. We went to Denver, Colorado. Saw some stuff there. Didn't do a lot while we were there.
Was this before or after they legalized?
After.
Okay.
We thought about it, but it was like,
Just want to enjoy the trip.
Yeah, we were just trying to have a good time then. Then we ended up...
Still enjoy the trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we wanted to remember the trip.
Yeah, we wanted to remember the good times.
Okay.
We wouldn't be telling the story right now about Denver if we did what we could have done.
Yeah. Just putting it out there.
What we ended up doing then is we ended up going an hour north of Denver, camping out up there, which on the entire trip, we ended up camping every single night. Camping in tents or in hammocks.
How many days?
It was a total of...
I think we were gone for a total probably about...
like a week and a half.
About a week and a half.
It took us about a week to get to the Grand Canyon, and then it took us like maybe 3-4 days to get back.
Yeah, because we decided to power through the end of it just to be home, which was not a good idea. So we're not doing that
we
again.
should have spent more time on the way home. But,
yeah, so we were actually out on the road seeing things for a rough total of about like 10, 11 days, maybe 12.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, we stayed in Denver, Colorado, well, north of it, and we actually stayed in a campsite that had a beautiful view of Denver off in the distance, and you also had a beautiful view of the Rocky Mountains, and then you could also look the other way and just see beautiful plains. And then, of course, we're far enough from Denver that when it comes nighttime, the light pollution isn't there enough that we were able to see the stars that night, which is beautiful.
Kansas was like that too. It wasn't. We couldn't see as much in the sky, but it was still.
Kansas.
Where we were was actually really cool.
It didn't help in Kansas that we were right next to a closed down amusement park that kept their lights on overnight.
Yeah, but I mean, for where we were though, it was actually a really nice setting.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a waste of money. You said it was closed.
Closed for the season.
Oh, okay.
But they keep their lights on.
Probably for security.
Yeah, I would
probably for
so.
security. Yeah, that's a
but
big waste of money.
After the night in Denver, we ended up keep going west. We drove through the Rocky Mountains. Such beautiful scenery down over there. The Rocky Mountains are definitely something I recommend you drive through.
Yes.
Just the mountains, the plateaus it has in there, the rivers it has, the lakes it has in there, all beautiful. The variety of color they have in the trees and the flora, off the charts. And then from there, where did we end up sleeping that night?
I don't
because I don't think it was.
We made it. We made it to another state. I think by the time we actually hit it, by the time nightfall actually hit, so we were able to find another camping site.
Yeah, I think we stayed in. I want to say Beaver.
I don't remember where we were.
I don't remember if that was. I don't remember if it was that night or the next night. Because then what we ended up doing. Yeah, I think we did stay in Beaver because then after that we ended up going through some canyonous areas, plenty of plateaus, seeing plenty of what's the word I'm looking for?
But
colorful rocks, I guess I could say. I'm trying to think of the right words, but we ended up going through a lot of that.
Colorful rocks.
Yes.
Lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we drove through Vegas.
Yeah.
Decided not to stop, which was probably the best option at the time.
Yeah, it's Vegas. It's always packed.
Yeah.
And I don't think we were willing to lose any more money at the time.
No.
Because
Okay.
I bet you if we stepped foot out of that car, we would have lost at least $500 no matter what we did.
Yeah, probably.
But
And then we went and saw the Hoover Dam.
Hoover Dam was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then after that, we made our stretch to the Grand Canyon.
We actually stayed in... what was the place?
We stayed in a at a campsite not too far from the canyon,
Yeah, probably maybe, what was it, a 40-minute drive?
something like that.
Yeah. Just off of Route 66.
Yep. So that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
So we actually got to be at Route 66.
And the thing is, it was Seligman, Arizona.
Yes.
We stayed in Seligman, Arizona at their KOA. It was in the middle of nowhere next to Route 66, and there was a train just off in the distance. So both nights we were there were clear, moonless skies, which is perfect when you want to see the stars.
It was very pretty.
And
Or aliens.
yeah, that too. I don't think we were in the right spot to see aliens, though. So
No, not quite.
Oh, okay.
We were a little ways away. We were probably at a couple hours. I think we were about like a couple hours away from that too.
probably. But we ended up staying up,
Could have fucking North
Pretty much all
run that
night.
shit.
seeing the stars, seeing the Milky Way, and we kind of just stared up in the sky for a while, and then it was just like, all right,
Now we're gonna go to bed, and tomorrow Grand Canyon.
yeah. Which I recommend you go there. It is beautiful.
Yeah, we were not on the side with the glass platform that hangs over.
Okay.
We were on the other end.
Which I'm glad, because that's expensive.
Yeah,
Really?
that's an expensive attraction.
Mm-hmm. We ended up.
My anxiety would murder me.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen pictures taken from that, and I'm just like, you're
Oh,
standing on
God.
glass.
No, we
Like, my
did.
anxiety be like, you're gonna fall. You're
We
gonna
ended
fall.
up going to
You're
the,
gonna die.
I think it was South Ridge National Park, I think it was.
Okay.
And they have plenty of trails there. They have plenty of attractions you can do there,
Mhm.
and plenty of info. So there was plenty of stuff we could learn. There was actually one trail they had that went into the canyon that I would have loved to have done, but Ron wouldn't have been able to do it.
I would have died.
Yeah, it's one of those, because you're going into the canyon, which if you get to the river is a mile down.
Yeah.
So the only way to get in or out is on foot or by helicopter, and they're only coming to get you on a helicopter if you need it.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's a very steep climb down and up the end that you go down, like that you exit and enter from, and then the rest is like very. I assume it's rough terrain, but you can see how far the first section of it goes,
yeah.
and then the rest just goes out.
See,
So
I thought you could rent like a donkey or some shit to ride
in
down
certain
the mountain.
places, I think you can. But
Yeah,
that
I
place,
think on
I
Because
certain
like my
sections.
grandmom told me she was out there. And
yeah,
were
certain
able
parts
to
of the
do that.
canyon you can, but that part, I think it was all just foot traffic.
okay.
Yeah. We walked the time travel trail.
We
Something
started
done?
that, and then
We didn't finish it. I think we got about halfway through.
No. We did the time travel trail, but that stopped, and then it transformed into the red path that we took.
Oh, right,
and then
right.
we got probably 3/4 of the way down that, which was still beautiful.
So very, very nice. I actually have a panorama on my phone. That is my favorite one I took because we stood at the end of one of the cliff faces, and I took a panorama from down in the valley all the way up into the sky, and that's a very nice shot.
Mm-hmm. I think we hiked at least 5 miles.
At the very least, yeah.
Yeah, and all of it was probably, we were always within 10 feet of the edge.
Yep.
So we always got to see beautiful things. We saw canyon squirrels, which are different than Jersey squirrels because of their pattern and the way they act. And we also saw mule deer.
They're
and
huge, by the way.
They are huge.
There's
And
a reason they're called mule deer.
I think didn't we also see vultures at the one spot? Like it was the vulture nest?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. But it's hard to explain with words. It's kind of one of those things you have to go see for yourself to know
Yeah.
and experience it for yourself.
It's very, very cool though. And like I said, for how stressed I was, the trip was so much worth it. Like, it was just very, very worth it. And I would do it again. I want to do it again.
I want to do it again as well. I'd love to go down into the canyon, but obviously if I want to bring you, we got to train you a little bit.
Right, we could do it.
Yeah, we just got to do a couple weekend hiking trips
Yeah.
to get you used to hiking and
Which
whatnot.
I might actually be up for at some point.
Yeah.
Once we can start doing it again. But Yeah, no, I mean, we also stopped in
What?
Winslow, Arizona.
I think you can do hiking right now.
I think we can, yeah, because
Yeah.
I know a friend of mine in Cali, she can do it. She's
Yeah.
been on a couple. Well, I think she did in Utah, actually, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you can do hiking now.
But we stopped in Winslow, Arizona,
Okay.
for anybody who knows that song by
From
the
the
Eagles. And they actually have
They
that
have-
that's a tourist attraction.
Yeah, they have a actual statue on the corner.
of the band, or two members of the band, and there actually is a flatbed Ford with right outside one of the buildings.
So that was a nice thing to see. And then from there, I think it was from that point that we drove 24 hours to your sister's house.
Yes, we drove straight through from Winslow, Arizona to Chattanooga, Tennessee. Never again.
Never again.
Because when we got to my sister's house,
So
we slept.
So let's preface this by saying that from where we started to his sister's house was 24-hour drive. So we left probably 7 in the morning.
That was what, a 600-mile drive?
Fuck
Roughly?
if I remember.
It was good.
All I know is we got to his sister's house at 6 in the morning, or 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and we went to sleep.
And slept the rest of the day and a little bit, and I slept to about 12 o'clock the next day. I think, or something like that. I slept a lot.
We definitely slept a lot during the day. We got back up and did some stuff before nighttime, and then we
Went back to bed.
went back to bed.
Yeah, it was rough.
And then we basically,
We stayed there for about a day or so, and then we
Yeah.
decided to head home.
and then I think we drove straight home from there.
Yeah, which was about a 12, 14-hour drive.
Yeah,
So,
wasn't bad, that one. We got to see some sights that we've already seen because it's the East Coast and we live over here.
yeah. But and just
Oh,
the
we
whole
live
trip
on the East
through.
Coast. Are you sure?
The whole trip through, though, was very, very nice. Like I said, I would love to do it again, and hopefully we can plan that within the next couple years,
Yeah,
because it was very fun.
and maybe this time we'll take the car.
If we can get it that reliable, yes.
Well, it's getting there.
It's getting there.
With the electric fans, that'll
I
be a
do-
nice boost.
I do officially want to go coast to coast.
Oh yeah, I want to as well.
I do want to go out to
Because that
to the West
was
Coast.
originally what our plan was going to be when we were at the diner. It was like, oh, we'll take this road all the way to California and go to the coast. But then we were like, let's
Let's
pick
just
something a
stop where
little-
we want to stop.
Yeah, it's like, well, if we're going to do something right now, let's at least figure out where we want to go. So it was like, let's go to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
And
So-
we just planned around that.
But like I said, the next one I do want to go officially coast to coast, because we start on the East Coast in Jersey. I do want to go out to California and just go out to the West Coast, say I've done it, come back.
All right, and I'll be trying to find co-hosts to fill in for you.
Yeah,
Don't worry about it. We'll get you. But
Uh,
we do have Power Tour in August, which is still going on as far as I know. So we'll have that to give the car some,
Yeah.
put it through its paces.
Yep, because that'll be a true test of how capable it is from doing a long distance.
Okay.
Because starting from here, doing it all, and getting back home is going to be 2,500 miles total
Yeah, so that's
at the
a
least.
that'll be a good
So-
test for it because it's already pretty much broken in. Once we get everything settled with it, we should be able to just take it.
All right.
And it'll be the best time to break down in a hot rod because I'll be surrounded by other people in hot rods that know how to fix hot rods.
Yep.
Yeah.
So hopefully someone's got a part somewhere.
That is the nice part about Power Tour.
Mhm.
Yeah, and most likely someone's got a part for whatever you got. So,
Unless you're doing something weird.
Unless you're the guy with the
The rotary engine.
T-top in an electric engine.
yeah.
I imagine the rotary guys are pretty out of place in that mix.
I
Oh,
assume they
definitely.
just bring parts.
I think
In case one of them turns into a grenade.
Yep.
I haven't seen much coverage of any rotary guys on Power Tour, so I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
Rotaries don't really break too often if you don't
They
beat
just-
on them.
Yeah.
They just burn a lot of oil.
Yep.
So
That's their only problem. That's their main problem.
Yeah.
their only problem, if you ask me,
Yeah, that's true.
except for a few other things, but we'll
Well,
ignore
that-
those for now.
Yeah. Those don't matter yet.
What other things?
What are you talking about?
Okay.
Nothing.
Don't worry about it.
All right.
Rotaries are perfectly fine engines.
Are we
They're
putting on
beautiful.
some tinfoil hats? Is that what's going on here?
Welcome to the tinfoil hat portion of the podcast.
Because I got some tinfoil hats.
It's time for
baby.
Ed to talk about some conspiracy theories.
All right,
What
so
you got?
check it out. We started off at the beginning of the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eminem dropped Music to Be Murdered By. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Follow Me. Lil Wayne dropped Funeral.
Uh-huh.
The Weeknd dropped a song called Blinding Lights, where he's singing about Las Vegas being cold and empty. It was cold and fucking empty for the first 3 months of the fucking year. Why? Because of fucking COVID-19. They knew it was coming, bro.
Well, shit.
They knew it was coming.
They knew something we didn't want to tell us.
Goddamn music industry, bro. Telling you.
Always a step ahead of us.
Oh, speaking of music industry,
Fucking Illuminati, bro.
Remember how I said-
Fucking naughty.
remember how I said with the DMCA going on, the DMCA ruling, is that a lot of these record companies don't want.
Are we sticking to the tinfoil hat, or are we actually talking about real shit?
We can talk about real shit.
Okay.
So yeah, end of our tinfoil hat. We'll probably have another
I'll
one.
keep
at some
mine
point.
on for now, though.
Yeah, we might have another one. But the DMCA ruling with all the music stuff on like Twitch and stuff and YouTube and all that kind of crap, is getting quickly fixed. A lot of artists and bands have actually come out and said, "Hey, we've greenlit our music with our record label and our legal teams to let you play it." So that quickly got a lot of that quickly got fixed.
Any
That's
notable
nice.
artists? Just
Off the top of my head, I can't really remember any, but I know some fairly big names have done it.
okay.
So it's actually very refreshing to hear that too.
It is very refreshing to hear,
So hopefully it can stay that way.
because I know me.
Yes.
Fuck you, pay me.
But
Yeah.
so it's good. It's just good to see that change happening. GCX is going on, which is a charity event. They're doing a charity marathon all the way up until I think the 21st.
What's this? What's the benefit of the charity?
St. Jude.
Okay.
They're raising a bunch of money for St. Jude. Their record for the whole event is 3 million, and they're hoping to break that, which they're close to doing. Well, not close, but they're at the pace they're going, they'll definitely break it.
All right.
So it's and there's a whole bunch of different streamers that are doing it across like YouTube, Mixer, and Twitch. So and that's currently going on for anybody who wants to watch that. But and support. It's a good cause.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very good calls. I have a habit of donating to them anytime a store's like, "Hey, we got." Although I have a habit of donating anytime a store does that.
But yeah, so definitely
I don't know.
if you got money to spare and you want to put it somewhere good, you can either put it to the charities for the Black Lives Matter movement, or you can do it for the for St. Jude for the kids.
Yeah,
Help cure some cancer.
I try to donate to at least one thing a month, and it's normally depending on what looks like it could use it. Like at least once a year, I'll donate to Wikipedia because free information is always important.
Whether it's true or not, it's there.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, Wikipedia is pretty damn good nowadays.
Yeah, a
for
lot
how
of
much how much editing they have going on now.
yeah, a lot of the
So-
admins are able to keep a lot of it in check and make sure none of it's not what it's supposed to be.
So it's always good to have free knowledge there because without them, probably couldn't find half the stuff you're looking for as easily on the internet.
This is very true. But yeah, so like I said, if anybody wants to watch any GCX stuff, go. There's an event schedule, I think, on their site, and you can go see who's streaming, when, and where, and go watch them. So you might be introduced to a new streamer you don't know, and you may enjoy them, you may not. Like I said, you can feel free to
You'll
donate.
just find out.
Yep, and just like I said, feel free to donate if you can and want to. It goes to help kids who are sick, and we can help cure cancer. So, very nice cause. Other than putting out job applications.
Well, I had a big poopy fart today. How about you guys? Did you have a big poopy fart today?
No, Bruce. Did not.
Are you sure you didn't have one, Ron? Because I'm pretty
I-
sure deep down you know you
I
wanted
am
one.
very sure.
So you had one that you thought was gas and turned out to be shit?
Luckily, I was on the toilet anyway because it was the
Oh.
morning.
We call those sharts.
Are you trying to use logic with me? Do you wish for me to put the tinfoil hat back on, motherfucker?
Keep it off. We want to use logic on you again.
Fuck you.
Logic bomb.
God damn it. I don't like logic as a thing or a person.
I kind of like his stuff. It's
Eh.
not bad.
What about the application?
I filled out 7 of them. Which one? All of which yesterday.
Yeah, I filled out one for Staples, so I'm hoping I can get something back. Yeah, because God, I need work. I need money.
Yes.
I gotta save money for a new truck or a new car, new vehicle of some sort. It's probably gonna be a truck again. But
Trucks are nice.
yeah, I'm probably gonna get a newer Ranger, not like a brand new, but newer
Yeah,
than
I
the
know
one I
what you're talking
got.
about.
Hopefully one with working AC. And
So you're gonna get a 94,
no.
because then you don't have to get it inspected still.
Right. I mean, if I gotta get inspected, I gotta get inspected. I don't care. But
Yeah.
I just want something newer that's got working AC and preferably a manual transmission if I can find one.
Yeah.
I would like another stick shift
Or what you do
because I can always
is
swap
get
it later.
the same model you have now, but newer, and then just swap the transmission.
Yeah, but then the transmission's still got a problem, and
Oh yeah, that's right, because the transmission's the problem.
yeah,
Oh.
Well,
That's
that-
actually a really good idea. If you get a whole new truck and then just swap the transmission and then boom.
yeah. But I have a bad
then you
slave
have
cylinder.
the same issue with the new truck.
It's like, oh
I
man, I
have
need
bad
another
s-
truck now.
My
And then you buy another truck and you put
And then
the
you
transmission
swap it
in.
over, and you're like, why do all the trucks I have to have the same problem?
my gearbox has
Be amazing.
bad synchros, and I have a bad slave cylinder.
Okay.
So I kind of just want a new transmission, which will come with the new truck.
So we'll get you a new truck. We'll hold on to the old one. We'll rebuild the old one and turn it into a race truck.
I would like to, but I don't have the money
We'll lower
for
it 2 inches, which would be really easy. Just flip the leaf springs on the rear end, cut the springs on the front, and then you race.
See, I don't have the money or the space for that, so I can't. I would like to.
Well, what you then do is you take it off of insurance, and you don't have it registered or whatever, so you don't have to pay for that anymore. And then you just drive it illegally to a racetrack, and then boom, there you go.
A racetrack where they check for insurance.
Nah, you don't need that.
You could pick one up for around $1,000. Transmissions. For
Yeah.
your Ranger.
Yeah, but they will need work. Unless there's someone selling a rebuilt transmission for $1,000, that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Because
I was
your
about to
truck
say-
takes the Mazda 5-speed, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a. What year is yours?
93.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 93 Ford Rangers take the Mazda B 3000 series transmission, I think.
I think so.
It's a 5-speed manual transmission. It's a nice transmission. It's lasted me this long. It's got 150-something thousand miles on it.
I mean, what you could do is get a T5 out of a Mustang from a junkyard, and then just swap that in, and then you'll have another 5-speed, but it'll have a little bit more durability.
Yeah, I would like to. I mean, like I said, if I had the money and the space to do it, I would.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Or you could always get a T5 out of a S10. But obviously, at that point, then you have to switch a lot of things over, because then you're putting a GM T5 onto a Ford.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
mean,
gotta change my bell housing and all that
You
kind
got
of
to change the
crap.
bell housing. You got to get a different clutch. You then have to get a different. You'd have to then change the tail shaft or get a new slip yoke for your
Mhm.
drive shaft.
And
at that
that's
point,
more work than I want to do on this
and at
thing.
that point, you probably have to get a new drive shaft.
Yep. It's more work than I want to do.
I mean, you could save yourself a ton of money and get like a C4 transmission and have a small black Chevy under the hood.
You know, Ronnie has a point.
I mean,
Yeah, I know.
it's an
I know
automatic.
I know where we can
but-
find small block Chevys.
Yeah. But yeah, and you won't have to worry about replacing anything.
Actually,
Yeah,
if
but
we
the
go to
automatic's not as fun.
if we go to a junkyard, we can probably find you an LS.
Yeah, you probably could.
'Cause
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
Because a lot of the
Fucking
newer
LS.
a lot of newer Chevy work trucks come with LSs now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just gotta watch which LS,
Yeah.
because the LS7 you gotta
Mhm.
know some computer wizardry in order
Yeah.
to keep it from sucking up the oil.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So otherwise it floods itself, and then you don't.
Flood
And you have to
that motherfucker!
and you have to hope to God that you get a 350 not a 305, because those are always fun to work with.
Yeah, it's a big ass motor, but it doesn't put what it's supposed to put.
The cool thing is the Ford guys will love you.
Yeah, I know, because everybody
you're
LS
driving-
swapped a goddamn Mustang nowadays.
Everyone's LS swapping everything now.
It's a versatile motor, and it's
I
easy
should-
to work on. I
I
don't
should
blame them.
LS swap my Civic, bro.
You could.
You could
I know. Actually, what was it when I had
LS
a
swap front wheel drive.
when I had?
Oh.
There's not enough room.
No, there's not.
Trust me, you can make it.
Yeah, if I made the front end wider, like a lot wider.
Look, it'll become a race car. Your tires don't have to be in line with the back ones anymore. They can be 3 feet out. It doesn't matter.
Think of all the traction you'll have.
I seen an LS swapped RSX. My bad. The Acura,
Mm-hmm.
fucking beautiful. I had one. It wasn't.
It wasn't
LS
LS swapped,
swapped, no.
but it was still an Acura.
I had a little 4-banger in it. It was faster than my Civic.
I mean, essentially,
But-
it's a Honda.
Yeah.
All it is dressed up Honda, but they're still
It
nice.
was.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful car. Leather seats. I loved it. Somebody didn't see it. But put me out of work for a year and a half. But yeah. They couldn't put the front bumper on
Mm-hmm.
because the radiator was in the way.
Yeah, that happens a lot of times.
See what you do. You just take out the radiator.
So then what you do
Well, no, you
is
cut a
notch
hole in the firewall
Yeah, you can do that too.
and you
You move everything back.
move everything back.
Yeah.
Perfectly safe.
I've almost done that
Absolutely.
with my
Four-wheel
car.
drift, it's a violation for some reason. I don't know why.
Well, as long as you put the firewall back,
Nah.
you're fine.
No, it's against regulation
What,
if you want to
Drifting or whatever?
be in like the professional circuit.
Yeah,
Huh.
they actually want you to have proper safety regulation.
Yeah.
Well,
Imagine that.
Well, I'm saying, what
Assholes.
if... Well, I mean, I understand if you were to run without a
Killjoys.
firewall, because, I mean, running without a firewall is dangerous. But, like, if you were to move the engine back and then build a new firewall around the engine, technically that would still be safe. I've seen it. On Roadkill, they actually had an episode where they had a Samurai, and they put I think it was a 440 in there.
Oh, Jesus.
Were they building the Samurai in a junkyard?
Yes.
All right, I've seen this episode. Carry on.
Yeah, and basically they cut out the firewall, and half the engine was in the actual cab, so...
Please build a new one around it.
Yeah,
I
Nothing
mean, as
says you
long as
can't.
the firewall works, I don't think you'll have
Yeah.
a problem.
but
'Cause the
it's against
firewall is
regulation
there.
for FD.
Yeah.
But fuck
Yeah,
FD.
well, fuck them, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, fuck them and their 1,000 horsepower Mustangs.
everything's 1,000 horsepower in that fucking competition.
I know.
Who is it?
You don't need that much horsepower to drift either, but, I mean, okay.
Well, all right. You want to have enough horsepower to be able to stay out in front of somebody.
This is true, but you can do that. Your car also needs to have enough handling and traction as well, so you
Yes.
can do that with, like, 800, 850. You don't need 1,000, but
But
everyone just maxes
you got to
out
be
anyway.
able to pull
But-
away from people.
But imagine this, Ron.
You can't pull away from
1,000
people.
horsepower.
Well, you can pull away from a standard vehicle, but I mean, if your limitation is 1,000 horsepower, and you know all your competitors are pushing a grand, why push 800 or 850 if you can afford to push that?
Well, a lot
grand?
of times the drift courses aren't really that long. They don't have a lot of straight sections. So I mean, if you
Well-
can drift better than your opponent and you can swing it a little bit easier, a little bit tighter. You can get around them even if you have less horsepower. More horsepower doesn't always necessarily mean you get out in the lead in turns.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
As long
I
as
know
you know
why.
how to control it.
Right. That's what I'm saying. As long as you have enough control over the car and you're able to keep that tight when you swing out. But I mean,
what sounds better, 1,000 horsepower or 850?
you have a point. But again, when it comes to drifting, it doesn't really matter too much. But I can see why 1,000 is where they go. Cause
Yes.
It's where you feasibly
Because
can.
why not?
Yes. And if they were allowed to go to $2,000, those cars would be pushing $2,000.
Well, I mean, at that point, you would have a
And-
rocket car.
Yeah, I don't think you can easily drift a car 2,000 horsepower without blowing it up.
It'd be awesome.
I mean, you can
Ride
probably
second gear doing 120.
you can probably do it. You could probably do it with a diesel. Probably not pushing 2,000 horsepower, but at least pushing 2,000 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah. I think it'll be freaking spinning tires all day.
Yeah.
Spin tires in fifth gear. Still pulling the trailer.
Yep.
And drifting.
Yep. Diesels are nuts.
Did
Yeah.
you see that one video It was from a while back, but
Well, then no.
It was from a little bit ago, and it was this one shop. They were trying to build a really fast diesel engine, and they just kept pushing the limits and kept pushing the limits. And then just one time, they were just adding more boost, and the engine just exploded on the dyno. It was nuts, because literally that thing was bolted to the building, and the intake and exhaust go outside the building. So they even have a video from the exterior of the building, and you can see the smoke go crazy, and then suddenly a giant puff of air go out the exhaust while the building shakes.
Oh God.
So, speaking of engines and buildings, for whatever reason this popped into my head. Apparently, when Bugatti was building their first W16, it actually burnt down the building that they were
Oh yeah, I
developing it
heard
in.
about that.
Tell me more. I haven't heard about this.
I
mean, TLDR if you want to go read it. But essentially, early stages of making the W16 motor for the Bugatti at some point, they ended up burning down their facility because of how
heat.
all the heat that built up.
Yeah, I can imagine, because a W16 does put out a lot of heat. That's a lot of cylinders.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's in a small, compact
It's only 4 more than
piece of machinery.
your
So
average Corvette. So fuck
Wait.
it, English.
Wait,
It's quadruple. Quadruple is what I was
W
looking
motors
for.
are very different than V's.
I know. It's quadruple the amount of cylinders
Yeah.
that you'd find in your Corvette.
And it's a lot more compact because they're about the size of a V8, V10ish. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of ventilation for a small piece of machinery that you got to worry about.
It's
They're not
beautiful.
always the greatest, but they work. But yeah, and then they ended up putting, I think, what, a V8, V10 option for the Veyron.
I didn't know about that.
I think the Veyron can run off a V10, but I think it also runs off a V8. They're
I
also all-wheel drive.
Yeah, they are all-wheel drive. I knew that.
So is the Chiron. They're all-wheel drive cars, so they have great launch.
Oh
But
yeah.
later on, they kind of bottom out. They max out and just kind of ride there. Whereas a rear-wheel drive car kind of just builds up until it maxes out. Whereas all-wheel kind of just levels out itself. Like,
Dude, the
very
Chiron's retarded.
early. 268 mile an hour.
Base model, almost $3 million.
Mhm.
Nah.
what about if I get all the upgrades?
Koenigsegg 1-to-1
Okay, hold on.
was about 2.5.
4.5.
Whew.
Mhm.
I wonder
1,500 horsepower.
if the bank will give me that much money.
9 miles city, 14 miles highway. That's
So that
miles per gallon.
It's got a shite mile per gallon MPG rating, but
It's
Although
beautiful.
if you're spending $4.5 million on a car,
you have the money to gas it.
I don't think you're worrying
Prove it.
about the gas mileage.
No, not quite.
Prove it.
But Koenigsegg
Gas is
1-to-1.
going up 20 cents. I guess I can't drive my Bugatti today.
The Koenigsegg 1-to-1 is a 2015 hypercar. It's the world's first mega car, technically, because it runs on a megawatt of power. Has about 15 horsepower. It's got 1341 horsepower. Goes about 275 mile an hour. About 2.5 million for the base model. 90% of it's carbon fiber. All handcrafted, by the way.
What vehicle is this?
Or hand-built, I should say. Hand-built.
Here it is right here.
The Koenigsegg 1-to-1.
Yeah, the $4.2 million slice of history.
Yes, for all the options. Yep.
Well, shit.
For all the options, it's about a $4 million car. It is the world's first mega car because it runs on a megawatt of power. It is the fastest production car to exist.
Produces 1,000 pounds of downforce at
1,000
155
pounds
miles
of
per hour.
downforce.
Yep, there's a lot of G's in that car.
It's like being crushed by the fist of God.
Yep. It is the fastest production car on market.
How many do they make of them?
I'm assuming one, since it says one of one.
No, it's called the 1-to-1 because
Oh,
it's a
1-to-1.
1-to-1 power to weight ratio.
I imagine they made
Okay.
just enough to get it called a production car.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what that number is, but
It's
is.
got to be at least 500, I'd think.
I really wouldn't know.
What are we talking about?
how many cars you need to make for it to be classified as production.
I think it's only 50.
Only 50?
I think.
Well, then
That's a lot lower than I thought.
Yeah,
or is it, or it might be 500.
Because I remember. Because I
I
remember.
think it's 500.
Because I remember 200.
Yeah, that sounds better.
Because I remember 200 or
I
something
was
cars.
thinking
It's
of
like a
something
limited
else.
run.
Yeah, I think it's about 500.
Yeah, let's think of something else.
Yeah, so they made enough to call it a production car, and it goes 275 mile an hour. Whereas Bugatti, who everyone thinks is the fastest car, goes about 268, 270. And it's all-wheel drive, so you'd figure it would be able to go a little faster, but it doesn't. Rear-wheel drive, Koenigsegg 1-to-1. 1341 horses, roughly about the same thing in weight your weight ratio. So, yeah, it actually it has a record for how loud it is.
Really?
Yeah, it is so loud and so powerful that
Isn't it banned from?
Circuit de Spa.
Really? You can't drive it at Spa?
Well, you can now.
Oh, okay.
When they went to test it, so they wanted to test they wanted to do its lap record on the Nürburgring, but they couldn't because there was an accident that happened around that time with someone's GTR. So they closed the track down. And I think the driver actually died in that accident. So they closed the track down for a little while and reworked some of the speed settings or the speed limits in some of the sections. So Koenigsegg said, "Hey, let's go to Circuit de Spa and run our lap time and set our lap record." And about halfway through the lap, the officials red flagged the track and said, "You guys can't run this here." And they said, "Why not?" And the officials were like, "Well, your car is louder than our decibel limit." So they actually had to stop their lap run. They raised the decibel limit of the track just so the car could run. That's how powerful that car is.
Okay, so, but why? Why couldn't they just let him keep running even though it was smacking the decibel limit of the track?
Because regulations.
Because I imagine they.
But all they did was just bump it up and then say.
Well, I imagine they have to bump it up before you can break it again.
Yeah, and it's a safety thing. So.
But we're talking about sound, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a safety thing, safety hazard. So yeah, no, that's actually they had to bump up the decibel limit of the track just so the car could actually run the lap. But
and I imagine they can only do that because they had so much money.
Yeah, because
Imagine if we were to go there with a car that loud, they'd be like, "You just gotta go, dude."
yeah, you just gotta leave. But yeah, so
straight pipe
it's
the Civic.
Not like it already isn't.
practically.
My car isn't straight piped. There's a muffler there.
You can be straight pipe with a muffler.
If the muffler rots out enough, then it's straight pipe.
True.
But yeah, so
I gotta cut the cat too, because that really fucks up the flow.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Koenigsegg 1-to-1 is one of my favorite cars to exist, if not my most favorite, next to the Mustang. So it's a beautiful work of machinery.
We're gonna have to
Mine
change this
has
to the
to-
Gearcast.
Mine probably has to be the Camaro, or my truck.
Yeah,
Those or my car. Those are
Or my car.
Those are some of my favorite vehicles to exist.
because they're yours. You're biased.
Hey,
I can't-
They're good though.
I can't say anything. I like my truck.
All you guys like shitty vehicles. I love the Miata. It's a dope fucking
The
vehicle.
Miata is a great.
It's a very nice car.
The RSX. Oh yeah. And
Lawnmowers. Porsche
Porsche 911 GT3 RS.
Yes, but Porsches break easily.
But it's a fucking beautiful car.
It is.
It's a fucking
It's not like
beautiful
you're gonna
car.
take a Porsche and drive it across the country.
No,
People do.
I wouldn't.
Not like you would, Ron. That's what I'm saying.
You don't know that.
You know, you're right. If you
Those
had
things are
one-
comfortable, dude.
If
I
you
sat
had
in
one,
one.
you'd probably drive across.
I drove one working valet. They're comfortable as fuck.
What type?
I think it was a 911 Carrera.
You know, actually, we should get a car like that, and we should try a cannonball run.
Dude, those cars are comfortable as hell. It was so nice. They're like spaceships. It's awesome. It needed an oil change, but it was awesome.
You know what, Ron? I do know how we could get to the other coast. Let's do a cannonball run.
Yo, that would be fun.
There you go.
It'd be a good way to test how well a car can perform under high intensity.
Mm-hmm.
So
Driving at 120 miles per hour down the highway constantly.
yep. And mind you, we have a manual transmission, so we're going to be working 3 gears a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, driving at a consistent 120 miles, my car would make it about 4 minutes. On a good day.
On a good day, yep. I can't even. I don't think I can reach 120.
It would. It'd probably take me about a half hour
Just to get to that speed.
if the vehicle lasts.
Yeah.
And then 4 minutes at that speed. Yes.
I have a 93 Ford Ranger. I don't even hit 110. So.
I got to change the gearing in the car to get a little bit higher for speed. I don't remember what the top speed is right now because I haven't tried to reach it yet.
And we also don't know what our speedometer is reading.
Yeah, it's not reading properly right now. I have a new sensor. Hopefully that'll fix it.
Yeah.
Also, we haven't had a chance to take it out to somewhere regulated where we could find out the top speed.
Yes.
Yes.
Like a regulated racetrack with a long enough straight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to do that,
That's,
though.
I would like to see
where
that
you
thing
find
go
out your
racetrack.
top speed.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not like the highway or anything like that.
Yes.
Once
This is not the entrapment cast.
Once I get
Shit.
the
Fuck.
the clutch and stuff working a little bit better, I'd love to take it to a racetrack
Yeah, I want to see what that thing can. With how it is.
because I know it would actually do pretty good on a track.
It leans. I mean, you fixed the sway bar issue, but it
Yeah.
leans a lot, though.
I mean, it's a heavy
So-
car. I would have to lower it to fix that, but I don't feel like lowering it right now because the exhaust already drags on the ground a little bit. So if I were to lower it, I'd have to then redo the exhaust and have it higher up.
We're not about that.
And I also don't want to have to worry about scraping the oil pan on anything. So
Yeah,
I'm going to leave it
it's-
right where it is.
Yeah, it's a good option. But
I keep forgetting what year is that.
85.
85.
You ever thought about making a 85 Cutlass gasser? You won't have to worry about scraping it anywhere.
That'd be dope.
Maybe I'll get another G-body.
And do that. We'll make a gasser this
A
time.
G-body gasser would be fucking nuts.
I know there's probably one for sale in the lakes.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Actually, I could probably there's probably because I've seen at least 5 just driving through one of the sections. I could probably knock on someone's door and be like, "Hey, how much you want for that car?" And they'd probably be like, "Here,
Just take it.
Just take the keys. I don't want to see it anymore."
I want it gone.
I actually worked with a guy who was selling a G-body for $5,000.
Why $5,000?
G-bodies are coming back, so they're actually going to get good price jump.
Really? That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said it had a limited slip diff and
Oh yeah, that'll do
Ooh.
it. That'll jump the price a bunch.
yes. Dude, this thing when he would drive it into work, because I didn't know he had it until he was going to sell it, so he started driving it to work,
Mm-hmm.
and dude, this thing would rumble in ways. You know what I'm saying? Those
Mhm.
ways. That
Good.
I got jealous of 2 cars, I think, from YouTube. One I saw on Hoonigan, and it was an 80s Cutlass, I believe it was,
it's my favorite
and
channel.
he all-wheel drive swapped it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, that thing can roast all 4 tires.
Oh, at once.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
on Cletus McFarland's YouTube channel, I can't remember what the name of the car was, but it was a supercharged, I think it was a supercharged 350, where the exhaust had tractor flaps on every single one, and they all shot straight up, shotgun style. That thing roasted tires, and just from the video, I was like, oh, so that's what my car can do.
Yeah. There's a show on Netflix. It's actually really cool. I can't remember the name of it right now. I think it's World. I forget what it's called, but what they do is they do a couple rounds of 5 racers where it's 4 sleepers against 1 supercar, and the winners from each race will
Oh, I remember
meet up in a
seeing that.
final race and do do that. Sometimes a supercar wins, and other times a sleeper wins. There was a guy who there was one of the racers had a sleeper, which was another Cutlass around the 80s. I can't remember the exact year. It might have been in 83, 84.
I zoned out for a second. What are we talking about?
There's
Not to
a
be
show.
thick.
There's a Netflix show where they do
What, like 4x4 drag races? Well, 4 wide drag races.
5 wide.
5 wide. Okay.
They do 4 sleepers against it's either 4 or 5.
Yeah,
like
fastest
4 or
car,
5.
right?
Yes,
Okay.
where they do sleepers against supercar.
All right.
One of the sleepers was an Oldsmobile. I think it was like an 83 or 84 or something like that. With a sequential transmission in it.
Whew.
It was actually owned by a rapper.
Okay, yeah, I seen that episode. Yeah.
The car was in nice shape too.
Can't remember the guy's name.
I can't either. But very, very nice car. Very cool dude too, just by like first impression.
Yeah.
So, but that show's pretty cool.
Well, most rappers are pretty cool. Like, if you meet them,
True.
like they're not really not. Some of them are dickheads, but
Not all of them.
like, you know, I guess generally people.
But
Most are right. Some of them are dickheads.
They are people.
They are people.
And people do be like that sometimes.
Prove it.
Exhibit A.
Hey.
Fuck you. I've never once done or said anything dickheadish. Yo,
Sure.
Fuck you.
I mean, I don't really have anything else of mention that we can discuss, but
I don't either, unless Ed has anything to throw in.
you're our saving grace. Otherwise, we're done.
Our saving grace.
Wait, who's Grace and why are we saving her?
I don't fucking know.
Oh, well, shit, then this has already hit the bed.
Shit has already hit the fan.
Shit has already hit the. Well, he said it already hit the bed, so I guess it bounced off the bed
Into the fan.
into the fan.
Damn, that's some bouncy
Splatter
shit.
painted the wall.
No.
And then
It's like a nightmare I had.
And then it gets brought to
Carry on.
a art exhibit and gets sold for $1 million.
Ah, the next Picasso.
Picasso.
It's modern art.
It's modern art, created with modern objects and some rather interesting items.
Yeah. Interesting texture.
And then you got people coming up sniffing, and it's like, I love how
The aroma.
The aroma. He must have been eating corn before this one. Just imagine a museum.
You would actually see the corn. You wouldn't be able to sit there and say, I smell the corn. No,
Because corn doesn't actually...
you would see
corn
it.
doesn't break down your
Just imagine that in the future you have a
But they
art
definitely have
exhibit.
blueberries. Like, there's a hint of blueberry in there.
Just imagine going through a museum and you just see a bunch of paintings on the wall, and it's like, wow, these all look like splatters. Then you see someone come up and just start sniffing them, and it's like, the artist must have been eating this morning something exquisitely rare. It's like, the fuck are they talking about?
Oh, where have we gone?
You guys want to, I don't know, things to watch? Watch
Things
recommendations?
to watch.
Things to watch. Ooh.
Well, I mean, fastest car, for example.
Fastest car?
I just rewatched Up.
Okay. There's another show on Netflix. It's kind of like American Ninja Warrior, only with cars.
I saw that. It's on my list.
I can't remember the name of
So
it.
wait, they have
Very
cars doing the
fucking dope.
ninja course?
Yeah,
It's in
kinda.
a way.
Sounds
Like,
awesome.
It's amazing. I wish I could remember the name of it.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it either. But that one looks interesting. I haven't watched it yet.
I'd watch it if I was you. Very dope cars.
Avatar: The Last Airbender is on Netflix. So anybody who wants to rewatch that, by all means, go ahead. If you haven't seen it, highly, highly recommend. Very good show.
And also the Avatar movie with the blue people. Not
Yes.
the live action
Not the
movie.
live action Airbender movie. That
God,
garbage
no.
just should not exist. That movie's horrible.
Yeah, I can't stand live action anything.
Well, that one's just bad.
Like, but then again, I'm that person. If I experience something in a certain media, and then it changes to a different media, I'm like, nah.
Anybody who's into Star Wars, The Mandalorian on Disney Plus. Season 1, 8 episodes, but very well worth the watch. Season 2 is coming out hopefully October. I'm excited. That's a good story. Very grittier and more Western style vibe you get out of it. So it's a different take on the Star Wars universe, but it's very welcome. Mandalorians are also just really badass.
Okay.
An actual, the Survivor Man show.
What's that one about?
Which one?
The original one.
Is
with,
it called The Survivor Man Show?
No, it's I think it's just called Survivor Man, if I remember correctly. It's basically just a guy going out into the wilderness and surviving for a week just by himself. Something from the early 2000s, but it's something
I know what you're talking about now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of TV anymore, so it's kind of hard for me to find something.
Yeah, I know. I don't either.
I
was just thinking it'd be cool to throw something out there for the listeners.
Sonic movie. I highly recommend the Sonic movie.
I could, say 3 different fucking podcasts I listen to weekly, but
yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of Twitch. That's my TV.
Okay.
So I mean, it's kind of what I've been doing.
Streamers you want to shout out or?
Dr. Lupo.
Okay.
Plays a lot of Fortnite, Escape from Tarkov, Warzone. Very, very cool. He's gonna have a blog on the GCX on Sunday, so that's the 21st of June. So anybody who wants to tune into him, go ahead. Say No to Rage. He mainly plays Destiny, and what he does is a podcast style format. So he'll actually do a Q&A session. So people will submit questions, he'll answer them if they're relevant to the topic of the day, and then he does a 10-minute video of his thoughts on the topic that is for that day. He does it Monday to Friday. So if you are a fan of the game Destiny and you want to hear some intellectual conversations about it and hear different ideas that people come up with in different ways that everybody has that they think Bungie should do with it, by all means go pop in his stream. Very, very cool, very interactive with chat. He's a very chill guy too. It's pretty much the main 2 I watch.
Okay.
So, I mean, Lily Pichu, Pokimane, anybody like that, you want to watch them.
I'd like to shout out the Joe Budden podcast. It's a discussion-based podcast that kind of gives you some insight into the music industry. The Steve Dangle podcast, which is 3 Canadians who are Toronto Maple Leafs fans who give their takes generally on what's going on in the NHL. And Brilliant Idiots, which is Charlemagne the God and Andrew Schultz, discussion-based podcast. So,
as well, there's the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Okay.
Off Topic is another one that comes out of Achievement Hunter. Always Open, another one that comes out of Rooster Teeth. So, plenty of stuff there too.
Yep.
And you can always go check out the Music Shack podcast.
Yes, you can.
That is another one that we do where we talk about, for roughly about an hour, we talk about different music that's relevant each week.
Yep.
We bring up an album we like, we look at the Billboard charts, a couple songs that we may want to throw in, and there's stuff that we've been regularly listening to.
Yeah.
So if you ever going to go listen, learn about music, by all means, hop into that one. Once again, that's called the Music Shack podcast.
You might find a song by an artist that you never knew.
Yeah. You may end up finding a new material you might like.
Yeah.
It's always a good way. But I think that about wraps it up for us here today on the Ish Talkers Anonymous. Thank you.
That's our name.
Yep. Thank you again. If you joined us for episode 2, we will be doing more of this regularly. And we hope to see you again next week.